All right, Jessel, this song is for you. Why you gotta be so rude? Don't you know they're human too? Hey y'all, it's your captain for all things creative, and I'm coming at you with episode 2 Real Housewives of New York Reboot review. Now, for those of you who are new to the channel, please subscribe and like and comment on what you felt about the episode. I'm going to give you my opinions in 5 phases. First, I'll give you who was the queen of the episode. I'll give you who was the villain or who was acting a little spicy this episode. I'm gonna give you who I felt was the heart of the episode, who really, tugged on my heartstrings. And then I'm gonna give you who I'm putting in time out for this episode. And lastly, I'll give you my predictions for the next episode based on what all went down and the previews. So, starting with the queen of the episode, has got to go to Erin this week. She hosted the trip to the Hamptons, so she's automatically in the driver's seat for a lot of what's taking place with the girls. And I thought she actually did a really good job of hosting. Some housewives aren't really good trip hosts. They either don't show hospitality or they ditch the girls and bring their children. But Erin, she was very gracious. Even when the girls had their little complaints and they quirks, she rolled with it, which actually surprised me because from the first episode, she seemed like she's the one that was gonna be having a bone to pick with everybody any chance she gets. But I'm seeing more of her personality, and I think that again, she's not afraid to stand up for herself and others, but she's also chill when she wants to be. So I thought she did a great job hosting, and she did not overreact when the girls, complained about her caviar and all the nice things that she tried to do. And her home in the Hamptons is lovely. So the next part of my 5 page review is who was the villain or who acted a little spicy, and that goes to Uba. So from the beginning of the trip, she was one of the main ones, trying to not eat Erin's caviar. She wanted to go to Provisions, shout out to Provisions, and get more real food or what she considered more substantial lunch because she said all she had was like a banana and something else that was very light. So that wasn't that bad. Where it got too spicy for me was when they were in the restaurant and she done stole them people's canned coconut cream or coconut milk, whatever it was. Now, Uba, we love you. We stand for you. But them people did not want you taking their stuff. They wanted to mark up the prices for all the food in their pantry, and that canned coconut, that probably would have went into like, I don't know, 50 dishes. So you really did not have a leg to stand on when you're saying the salad, was very overpriced. I mean, you agreed to pay the price for the salad. They did not agree to share their pantry items with you. So I'm glad the other women stopped you and took the can back. We still stand for you, but we're not trying to be out here looking like, we got sticky fingers. So Uba, he was a little too spicy at the end, but I did not mind. You want to get real food instead of the caviar. That was great. But the can, that crossed the line. Next, who was the heart of the episode? Jenna. She definitely showed a very important part of her life when she was talking about, first of all, why she always got her chest out. I guess she's very famous for having these outfits where she got her little cleavage out in the open. And I guess, she was talking about that part of her body is like her landing strip that's, scar free. And it actually made me appreciate her sense of style once again, and how, she wants to accentuate her best feature and not get wrapped up in, her scars and imperfections, but instead, I think, like all people should do, just, accentuate the positive, minimize the negative, and still, no matter what God give you, you got to work with it. And I think she embodies that always. Also, she talked about being outed by the New York Post, which had to have been a very traumatic experience. And it's something that I think makes her want to be more private about this current relationship. She did say that the person themselves doesn't want to be in the public eye, but I think she also, wants to keep something to herself because in the past, her privacy was taken from her. So I think as much as she is open and she's very good for the show in terms of, disclosing her feelings and all those things, she still wants to protect what's most important for her, and that's totally fine as long as, she's honest about whatever she's comfortable sharing. And she has been that so far. There are certain housewives like Drew, for example, in Real Housewives of Atlanta, who just be lying about everything, even things that you see on camera, she lies about. And that's the stuff that we cannot stand as fans, or a lot of us, get annoyed by. And for now, the only thing that is kind of not a red flag, but kind of interesting to me is how she sometimes doesn't say her feelings when she should. For example, what happens with Jessel, who is the next person that we gotta talk about. So, Jessel, you are in timeout. You were very rude, like the magic song says, because Jenna was very gracious, to give everybody gifts of the clothing and the laundry. And we know that fashion is very important to Jenna since, again, she was the face of J. Crew and the head honcho there. So she's very respected in the fashion industry. She has a very illustrious career. And for her to share her fashions and her clothes with you, and for you to be so ungrateful about it, it hurt my heart. So Jenna, if you listen, or if you find this somehow, I will be grateful if you send anything because I love fashion. And with Jessel, what really stuck out to me was how she also treats her family from since the first episode. Even in this episode and the first episode, Jenna showed way more respect and appreciation to Jessel's mom than Jessel has shown. And it seems like she's taking her people for granted, her husband for granted. She's talking about not really, having intimacy with him. And there's a lot of issues there because she had a whole, infertility journey and IVF journey, which I get and which can be painful. But it's the way she spoke to him when he was just trying to work, be on his computer. The first episode, she was like, get out the room. And even with her mom, she was kind of ordering her around. And then here you see her be ungrateful with the gift that Jenna got her. So it's like three strikes now. And to me, she got to be in timeout because I do not like when people, one, don't respect elders, which it seems like she was doing with her mom, because I'm a Caribbean person. I was raised that way to have a sense of just thankfulness for the people that got you thus far. I mean, a lot of times people do have tense relationship with their parents, but in this case, her mother is very much there for her. She's taking care of her kids. You saw her cooking, and just for her to be so ungrateful and unappreciative is very much showing both in her personal relationships and then in her friendships, which how she was just dragging that lingerie. Now, granted, that lingerie wasn't the most beautifulest in terms of how it fit her, because I think part of what she didn't like was that it was a large, but at the end of the day, you can always make alterations to things. If it didn't fit in the moment, that's still a gift. I would have went down to the tailor, or even my family members. I have lots of seamstresses in my family. They could have, took down that waist and just snatched that piece of garment for me real quick. So even if she did not like the size, that's something that can be adjusted. And as someone who is in PR and who, kind of is around fashionable people, she should know that fashion is important to Jenna, and she shouldn't have dragged her clothes like that, especially because it was a gift. And I think it's just a bigger lesson. I'm not trying to, run down on Jessel, but just for anybody, I hope that you are grateful to the people in your life and you show your gratitude and have an air of thankfulness, because that gets you a long way. It's just like that. There's a whole gospel story about that with the 10 lepers that Jesus healed, and only one of them said thank you. You don't want to be that one ungrateful person, because it does affect your outlook as well too. Because if you are grateful and you know what things you're thankful about, it does help you to be more positive too. And if you're counting your blessings and realizing that not everything needs to be run down and drug, you yourself will be a better person. So she in timeout right now. I haven't given up on Jessel, but I just need her to change her attitude. And in terms of predictions, I'm glad to see in the previews that the other girls kind of get Jessel together. I wish that Jenna would speak up for herself. So I hope that once, Sai and Erin vocalize to Jessel how it was very rude of her, to tear down the garments and be so ungrateful about the gift, that Jenna uses that as a segue into her feelings and, you know, talks to Jessel and gains her voice in terms of standing up for herself more. But also, I hope that Jessel turns a corner in terms of, being more appreciative of her friends and the people in her life. It doesn't seem like she's going to be that way from the preview, but hopefully this is a first step in her becoming better, because I think for first season Housewives and a lot of reality stars, there are a lot of growing pains. So when people see themselves on camera, they're like, "Oh wow, I didn't realize I was that nasty to my parents, or I was that, shallow around my friends." So hopefully, even if you don't see a change this season, if she makes it to a second season, if the show gets renewed, hopefully it'll be a chance for her to change and transform herself, because that's what we all want. We all want to be onwards and upwards. Nobody's perfect. God knows I'm not perfect. The Lord is still working on me. So, yeah, let's all learn. And they say, smart people learn from their own mistakes, but wise people learn from the mistakes of others. So I hope for, us viewers and people who need to see what it looks like to be ungrateful, that you take it to heart. Don't be ungrateful yourself. And even if you don't like a gift, don't drag it down in front of the person that gave it to you. Just, be kind to others and also be kind with yourself. So those are, all my thoughts on the second episode of Rhony. What are your thoughts? Please put it in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and maybe share with friends. And remember, you are the master of your fate and you are the captain of your soul. Peace.